Today on AGetc, we're starting to look ahead to the soybean growing season with Kansas State University Extension Specialists Stu Duncan, Adee, and Dorivar Ruiz Diaz. How proper seed selection, fertility management, and earlier planting might help your yields as long as Mother Nature does her part. Then Justine Staten with Kansas Horse Council talks about 2018 Equifest, and we'll end talking about increasing demands and prices for beef. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Hi, I'm Stu Duncan with Kansas State University, the Northeast Area Extension Crops and Soil Specialist, and I'm here at the 2018 K-State Soybean School, sponsored by the Kansas Soybean Commission, Kansas State University, and Channel Seeds over here, speaking at Rossville today. And I just wanted to just add a few words about soybean management and things to look ahead to as we get into the coming season. As most of you growers know, there's not just one thing as we're managing our beans as we look ahead into the season. Many factors will come into play: variety selection, traits, which is of course part of our variety selection, early weed control, planting practices, and some of the cultural tips that we oftentimes will come into as the season rolls along. They can shift and change, and we need to be able to shift and change with them. As we pick a soybean variety, in the northern half of the state, we will want to run from a 3-5 to maybe a 4, early 4 to a mid 4 group. In the southern half of the state, we're generally going to be looking from at the earliest, an early 4 to a late 4, unless we're planting those group 5 indeterminate beans down in the extreme southeast Kansas. We're probably going to want to look at a soybean that's got a proven track record. We always want to try something new. If there's something new out there that's been looking good, we want to look at any kind of a track record we can establish. Oftentimes varieties change so rapidly as they become available to us, but we'd like to look at something, even if you don't have a long track record. We like to look at the K-State performance test. That's the first place I always go, but I also look at company records, and oftentimes I like to see something that has some replicated, I don't care whether it's small plots or large replicated strips from fields, even strip demos at times. You can still get some pretty good information, see how variety performs, but get the most, of course, current data or results that we can get hold of and compare them over several locations. Conditions are going to vary. You'll probably be able to see, and that's one thing with the performance test from K-State. It's from all over the state. You've got a wide variety of soils, planting dates, all those things you can see. In a good year, probably nothing really stands out, but if you can get we will find a terrain over Kansas where you're going to see different extremes that you can run into. Of course, you can go to too much of an extreme, so use some good judgment on that. Also like to look at, again, not some of the other characteristics. If you're in the western parts or in some certain areas, if you've seen iron chlorosis before, and we have seen it in eastern Kansas. I'm sitting right now 4 miles from a field that was just really riddled with iron chlorosis 2 or 3 years ago. Whether they can get that remedied or not is beside the point, but it would have benefited those folks to have planted a good high yielding variety. And if it does have some iron chlorosis tolerance, maybe it would have helped, maybe not. In severe cases, a lot of times we've just seen in Kansas research, just go with a good yielding variety. In the part of the world where we're at right now, you might be aware of the cyst nematode resistance you might want to pull out of that performance test. But regardless, check your varieties, check with your seedsman, check with your county agent. all good sources of information for tracking some things down.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
BootDaddy.com proudly supports Equifest of Kansas, Kansas's premier all-breed horse fair and exposition, presented by the Kansas Horse Council. Equifest of Kansas brings the nation's leading equine clinicians and entertainers to the Topeka Expo Center. Enjoy 3 full days of education, entertainment, and shopping, including the Jumper Classic, breed exhibition, top horse versatility competition, ranch rodeo, and more. It's an event for the whole family. For more information or to buy tickets, visit equifestofks.com.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
My name's Adee. I'm with the Kansas River Valley Experiment Field. I manage that. I'm an agronomist in charge there. Sudden death has been a problem for quite a few years here at Dennis, Kansas River Valley. And we have a number of studies that we work on at the River Valley Experiment Field. We are looking at anything from fertility to variety selection to seed treatment. One of the things we've been looking at recently has been planting date. And we know that farmers, at least according to the research from other areas, to increase soybean yields, we need to go to an earlier planting date, which is typically what they're looking at is the end of April, probably the first part of May. But here in the River Valley, because of sudden death has been such a problem, and they've seen that it looks worse when they plant earlier, they hold off on planting till after at least the middle of May, maybe even later, maybe towards the end of May. So we set up these experiments to see, is sudden death, how much more severe is it with an earlier planting date compared to a later planting date? And what we have seen in 2 different studies, I won't go into all the details here, but basically, yes, we do see more SDS when we plant earlier. It's favored by cooler, wetter soils. But we also see a significant yield increase, especially when you're planting a more tolerant or resistant variety. We don't have anything really resistant, but we have some that really have a lot better tolerance. And we can see like up to, on average, I have a 3-year average of like a 5 bushel yield increase, going like the 2nd of May, and then that's 5 bushels over planting at the 20th of May. And then it keeps dropping off, the yield potential keeps dropping off when you get into the 1st of June, and then the end of June it really drops off. So take-home message is that planting a resistant variety, or the most tolerant variety we can realize a lot better yield potential, some of that yield potential. If we're planting a susceptible variety, we won't see any benefit. The research we have doesn't show any benefit to planting earlier. You just as well wait till the end of May, and that's all you're going to get. But if we take good management practices, planting good variety for our area, good yield potential, it will show some of that yield response to planting earlier in the season. So I think that is an option. We can help increase soybean productivity by planting earlier, but we need to manage for SDS. The other things we've been working on, SDS, we've done a lot of seed treatment work for companies. We look at things, we kind of get the first look at things before they're released to the field. And there has been one product that came out, is Flupyrum. Bayer markets it as a levo. It's been very effective, and it also is effective against cyst nematode, soybean cyst nematode. And there's an interaction between cyst nematode and SDS. We're not sure exactly what it is, but we know if we help control or a variety is resistant to cyst nematode, we have less SDS. So that is out there. I did look at a couple of products for different companies last year that did show some promise. I don't know if they'll produce them and get them on out to the market, but there may be some other options for seed treatments to control SDS. Careful variety selection can make a huge difference. Now, a given year, we can have much more severe SDS than another year. I've only been here 6 years, and it's really varied. Some of it's related to soil moisture. It's hard to pin down. My take on it is if we get above average normal rainfall in June, right before bloom. We generally start to bloom right at the 1st of July. That is when we're set up for the most severe SDS. The last 2 years we've had above average rainfall in April and May, but a little below average or average during June. We've had very little SDS. Now, we have a long-term fertility study which wasn't planned to look at SDS, but we did see SDS show up in this corn-soybean rotation in the soybean year in 2014 is very severe, and it turns out the phosphorus is the key ingredient, highly significant. And then in 2016 it showed up exactly very similar results. We didn't have the severe SDS, but the results followed the treatment level almost identically. So maintaining and a good soil level of phosphorus is going to be probably very key in reducing the severity of SDS. And a combination of a lot of things, getting a good variety, getting a seed treatment, keeping your phosphorus levels up, and I think we're going to have a good chance of really seeing an increase with an earlier planting date in the yield potential of soybeans.
This segment brought to you by the Arab Shrine Circus, coming to the Kansas Expo Center February 15th through the 18th. For ticket information, visit ArabShrineCircus.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, it's Shrine Circus time! Enjoy a weekend of thrills, chills, and tons of fun at the Kansas Expo Center February 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. See lions and tigers, elephants, high-flying trapeze artists, and watch a man shot out of a cannon. And Johnny Rocket, everyone's favorite, is back! For more information, visit ArabShrineCircus.com and be sure to thank our corporate sponsor, Security Benefit, the Arab Shrine Circus. Don't you dare miss it!
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
My name is Dorivar Ruiz Diaz, soil fertility specialist in the Department of Agronomy at Kansas State. Today we're talking about fertility management for soybean. There are several issues that are relevant for fertility management in soybeans. Some of those that we are seeing more frequently in recent years relate to phosphorus management, which is one of the main limiting nutrients typically for soybeans. But we also start to see more and more low pH develops in different parts of the state. Even in regions like central and western Kansas, where we typically tend to see more high pH soils. In recent years, we start to see some low pH develops in those regions. And that can be quite important for soybean as we see more and more soybean acres moving west. That can be something that we need to watch pretty closely when it comes to fertility management. One of the things that we highlight, especially for these two nutrients, for phosphorus and for soil pH, is soil testing. It still becomes still one of the main tools we have for managing these two variables. And soybean, again, show very good response to phosphorus in particular. Maintaining good fertility levels is really important for soybeans. We also do see significant yield increases when we are in that low soil test situation. We see significant yield increases to fertilizer application in soybeans. In the case of pH, similar situation, looking at history of soil tests and managing accordingly is the key. One thing that we highlight also when it comes to soil pH is in those situations where we have no-till systems, where we're not going to incorporate any lime, we need to be looking specifically the upper 3 inches. So a more shallow sampling depth can become really important in those no-till management systems where lime will likely be applied on the surface. And again, mostly interactive with the upper 2 to 3 inches in the field. Other aspect, fertility management points that we need to keep in mind for soybeans are usually related to potassium, which is especially important for some parts of the state, eastern part and especially southeast Kansas. Always something that we need to watch very closely. We do. Last year we saw some cases of potassium deficiency also develop in some fields that has optimum soil test levels. A lot of that has to do with planting conditions, compaction, for example, that can be a big challenge. So just again, one thing to keep in mind, wet planting conditions can develop some sidewall compaction, and that usually turns into some sort of nutrient deficiency, and potassium is typically the one that tends to show in that kind of situation. So that is definitely something important when we're talking about potassium in particular. Other nutrients, micronutrients is always a big question for soybean, and it's something that is very is less likely to see a response. However, we do have some fields, especially sandy soils, low organic matter soils, that can show a response to micronutrients. And again, we need to be paying attention to those fields. Definitely can be economical. The key is, are we identifying those fields that are good candidates for a micronutrient fertility program? In terms of information, we are doing several of these meetings this year with producers. We do have our soil testing lab website at K-State, where we have a lot of the information in terms of recommendations for fertility management in soybeans. We do have the e-updates that I definitely encourage producers to look at as we are providing some guidelines and some timely recommendations for our major crops in Kansas.
Tarwater Farm and Home has been family-owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard.
Hi, I'm Randy.
And I'm Paul from PFI.
We would like to personally invite you to stop by PFI, home of Boot Daddies.
PFI is America's Western store, covering over 50,000 square feet.
Over 25,000 boots.
Visit Saddle City with the largest selection of saddles and tack anywhere.
A huge selection of hats at Big Spur Hat Company in PFI Town.
And choose from the best brands of clothing and accessories for the entire family.
PFI, located on Highway 65 at the Battlefield exit in Springfield. And I'm not kidding.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Hi there, I'm Justine Staten, Executive Director of the Kansas Horse Council, and we are excited to bring you Equifest of Kansas 2018. It's our 21st year of this event, and every year gets bigger and better. Top clinicians would include Bobby Kerr. He is a master Mustang makeover person, and he actually has brought his Mustangs that he trained up, and they are part of his entertainment act. And so he's really going to be demonstrating skills at the gentling process, I believe. He's also going to be using them in his entertainment act at halftime at the Ranch Rodeo. Something that you don't want to miss because it's quite entertaining. Brad Lund will be working on fence work and box work and cattle sorting skills. Paul Humphrey will be utilizing his breaking the mold philosophy. He incorporates horsemanship and reining background, taking the body mechanics used in those sports and moving them into the barrel racing to enhance the results. Lynn Ringrose Moe, Mette Rosenkrantz, Larry Weitzel, and we're excited to bring you Dave Showtime Meyer. He's a YouTube personality. He'll be a ton of fun to entertain everyone with. Vendors, over 150. We take over all of the Kansas Expo Center as well as the Capitol Plaza Hotel, and there's something at every end of it. You don't want to miss out. This isn't just for people that ride. This is for anybody that loves to watch a horse, that wants to see horses. Maybe you've never been around horses and you want to learn about them. This is a great opportunity to come out. We also have educational workshops. Great opportunity to learn more if you're a first-time horse owner or a seasoned horse owner and you want to tweak something that you've got a problem with or a question on. You are going to meet some of the best clinicians right here, some of the best workshop presenters right here. This is the place to be to get all your questions answered one-on-one, face-to-face with the experts. There's no better place, and it's really inexpensive when you think about it. A $20 wristband gets you to all activities each day, or $45 gets you all 3 days. And this is nonstop from 8:30 in the morning until after 7 at night, or we have evening entertainment, Ranch Rodeo, Friday and Saturday night, Jumper Classic at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. That's our grand finale event. You don't want to miss it. This is where you can come talk to these presenters one-on-one. They'll be up in the Ponderosa room in Manor Conference Center. You can actually visit with them, shake their hand, ask them those questions that you want to ask. You can't beat it. All for one price. There's no additional charges. We do offer pony rides this year for the kidlets, and that will be an extra price, but this is an opportunity for them to get out and ride a pony if they've never gotten that chance to. Kids 12 and under are absolutely free. They'll get their wristband at the door, so bring them on out. I hope you can make it out. Tickets are on sale now at equifestofks.com. Go to attend tickets, and you'll find the link right there.
The new Better Horses Network is worldwide. Presented by Lucas Oil. Featuring worldwide radio and TV with iconic hosts like Al Dunning, Sharon Camarillo, Ernie Rodina, Lindy Birch, and Craig Cameron. With American Cowboy, Horse and Rider, Brushy Creek, Cavenders, and Ride TV. Worldwide radio and TV. The all-new Better Horses Network.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer it and work with you.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
The mediocrity business is available everywhere. It's not one restaurant owner Ed Hendy wanted any part of. So he built a business based on the best, featuring the best beef possible.
We wanted to have excellence, and I think, in fact, I remember my wife's birthday. We had 2 kids at the time, and we went out to dinner, and she said, I want a great steak. And we had 2 children, and I thought, well, okay, I got to find a restaurant that's casual enough to take a couple of kids to. And we found one. Should have been a great place. The meal was horrible. I remember thinking, God, there's a market here for restaurants to serve an excellent meal where families can go in and be casual and celebrate mom's birthday. And that literally is what the beginnings of who we are today, how we transformed ourselves.
Now the Houston-based business is the largest independent steakhouse in Texas. The steakhouse has used the certified Angus beef brand during the majority of its 40-year history, selling more than 6 million pounds over time.
Any small business is in a pressure squeeze on profits. The cost of labor in this business is astronomical, and the cost of food goes up and down. And there's a tendency, there's a temptation to buy cheaper to try to save money. And the problem is, once you buy cheaper, you buy less quality, and less quality, the customer can tell the difference. That's why I say anybody with taste buds and can count to 5 can tell what a delicious steak is and how tender it is. That's why we've got to present the very best product.
Last year, Taste of Texas spent more than $3 million with its meat supplier. It's easy to see why the restaurant wants to cut food costs, but instead of buying cheaper, they try to make smart buys.
The customer comes in to celebrate an event. It could be an anniversary, it could be a birthday, it could be a family occasion, it could be a first child going off to college, the birth of a new child, whatever it is, and they want to have a meal in excellence. If I save them $1 or $2 off the price, but the meal isn't great, they're not coming back. We're not going to do that.
Hendy wants ranchers to know he's doing all he can to sell more of the high-quality beef they raise, and he's not going to waver from that.
It takes 2 years from the time the bull and cow gets together in the pasture until I get a T-bone out of the deal. That's a long pipeline of supply, and I want to make sure that they know that we're going to be there, that demand is going to be there, and that demand is growing.
Even though increasing demand means increasing prices, Hendy says it's still a net positive for everyone. I'm Bob Cervera.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.